and she's almost in tears. But the reason why I say this is different, and this is how this scene highlights that, how the SasuSaku moment that they had is vastly different to the one that she's just witnessed with, um, vastly different to him flirting with the other girls. It's because he's got a different look on his face when he flirts with the girls. He's got a very, suave look on his face. It's very flirty, and you know, he's putting on an act, if you like. But with Sakura, it seemed very sincere. He was smiling, and there was no seductive looks, no smouldering looks at all. It was just Sasuke, and he did it alone. And he said he'd noticed that she was worrying about something. Now, he didn't say that to the other girls. Um, and his tone was different. As I said, his tone was sincere. It wasn't flirty. It hadn't taken on a playful or trying or a deliberately romantic tone. It seemed sincere to me, but unfortunately Sakura did not pick that up. This is why I think this SasuSaku moment is actually a valid SasuSaku moment, at least in the context of the film. So the SasuSaku fans out there who think they've been trolled, you're absolutely wrong. You're dead wrong. And the fact that Sakura, and even if you still think you've been trolled after hearing this, the main thing is Sakura took it to be romantic at the beginning, and that's what makes it a SasuSaku moment. But I think it becomes mutual because of the way Sasuke approached it, because he did it early in the morning, and he took the trouble to approach her on her own, and he was on the balcony. They were alone. There weren't any other people around. It seemed to be, as I said, early in the morning, so there didn't seem to be anyone around to witness this, and he didn't have any other girls around him. So if he was a playboy, you would have thought that he'd have other girls around him, but he didn't. So this is what makes this SasuSaku moment special, I think, and I loved it. It was one of my favourite parts of the film, as a pairing fan anyway. SasuSaku is my OTP, so I suppose it's quite understandable that I liked it. NaruHina is my second OTP, so all the NaruHina moments, including the one at the beginning of the film and the ones where Hinata says Naruto is hers, and threatens to throttle Sakura for being on a date, well, seemingly on a date with him. All is all very good. So I'm very happy that we finally got a movie that has both Naruto and Hinata and Sasuke and Sakura in it. It's not very often that I get a double helping of my Naruto OTPs. So I was very happy about that, and if I could, I would watch the film again. It was just that good. So I'll move on to the other aspects of the film in a minute. Road to Ninja is not a hindrance to SasuSaku. The film helps this pairing because, despite being filler, it has canon elements, and it got included because Kishimoto was working on the film. The fact that he decided to add moments for the couple says a lot, because the pairing hasn't been featured in a film since the very first one, and that was the only Naruto film he had a hand in making until now. So I think that's a very positive thing for SasuSaku. And I was so happy that we got a hint of it, a moment. And for me, it was one-sided. For me, it seemed one-sided at first when I watched it in the trailers. But then when I truly watched it in the movie, in the context of the whole film, I personally thought it was neutral. I'm so glad we got what I got one after waiting so long for another moment for this pairing. But as I touched upon earlier, there are possible implications between Road to Sakura and Road to Ninja. Road to Chakra obviously foreshadowed that the so-called genjutsu could be more than that. It was implied that it could be a parallel world which actually exists and not something that manifested as a result of Naruto and Sakura's deepest desires being drawn upon by Madara's jutsu. I reckon this suggests that the masked man could have used a space-time technique to transport them to another dimension. However, it could be that he also did so without realizing it. Either that, or such were the depth of Sakura and Naruto's wishes, that the genjutsu became a separate reality in its own right, or even an alternate possible future that never happened, because events went down another path. Either way, it's quite interesting to think about. I mean, my interpretation is that it's actually a parallel world. It's not far-fetched, considering that Madara can use time-space jutsus. Kishimoto, the fact that he included NaruHina and SasuSaku in this film tells me that he's far from finished with these pairings. I mean, the fact that he's got Sakura having a Sakura, Sasuke making advances on Sakura is very interesting. So I think it bodes well for the pairings in the manga, even though it's a filler and it does have links with the manga though. Kishimoto said so himself, but you need to watch the film and read the manga to be able to see those links. I mean, the implications are there in terms of the fact that he has put several moments at that, in the film for these pairings. Anyway, that's my take on the SasuSaku moment. You're free to disagree with me if you wish, but in my point of view, my favourite pairing has not been trolled at all, and neither has NaruHina, my second OTP, because they have Hinata laying down the law to Sakura that Hinata is hers. I mean, how awesome is that? I mean, it's not what she would usually do, but this is a parallel universe and anything is possible. Sometimes it seems to me that Kishimoto has been reading some of our fanfics or read our minds or something, because it seems this whole film is almost like sort of fan service and not at the same time, really. But anyway, once that's over, Sakura decides to take things into her own hands, and she notices that the roses petals are falling and it's wilting because it's been in the vase for so long. She has watered it probably. It's just dying, you know. So for this alternate universe, for the Sakura of this alternate universe, I think Sasuke would have been her lifeline, or something that made her happy. And I don't think, from the interaction he had with Sakura, I don't think that Sasuke flirted with Sakura all the time. I think that he was sincere with Sakura in that scene, and that implies that the alternate universe Sakura, because he was able to pick up that Sakura was worrying about something, I think that she and Sasuke, at least the alternate universe Sakura and Sasuke, are closer because of the fact he stayed in the village, and possibly in a relationship. I don't know, but given his interaction with our world Sakura, I think it's very possible. And of course, if we go back to the NaruHina scene, with how even though this world's Naruto is called Menma, it still implies that, and the way Sakura reacted, it implies that this is a regular occurrence, because Sakura and Naruto obviously hang around a lot together because they're teammates, and this Hinata is jealous. But I reckon Menma obviously hasn't shown Hinata how he feels yet, but I think that he's not in love with Sakura. this Menma is not in love with Sakura simply because of the dynamic that I reckon this world's Sakura and Sasuke have, which implies to me that Menma actually probably has feelings for Hinata, but just hasn't shown it yet, or hasn't noticed it, or is just too scared because of Hinata being so aggressive and forward about her feelings. But I reckon that Menma eventually will reciprocate the feelings, and this to me as a NaruHina fan implies good things about the real world's our world's NaruHina. You know, I think even though Hinata's grown a bit bolder in her advances towards Naruto, and Naruto has acknowledged her feelings, so I reckon that it's not going to be too long before NaruHina becomes canon. Now, the real world SasuSaku is going to be a bit more complicated, but with Sasuke having changed a bit since his talk with the resurrected Itachi, I think we may well be seeing the sincere side of Sasuke around Sakura at some point. The sincere, like sort of like the sincerity of the Road to Ninja Sasuke. So this is what I mean about, in my interpretation, this is what I mean about Road to Ninja having links to the manga, because there are so many implications and possibilities that Road to Ninja presents for the characters we all know and love. So it's very, very interesting in that respect. Anyway, as I was saying, after that's all, after Sakura decides to investigate a bit more, she meets up with Naruto again. Naruto has a talk with Sakura has a talk with Naruto, and this is a bit later on after Naruto has finished having fun with his parents, and he wants to know why Sakura's called him out there so suddenly. And she explains that, you know, explains that they should be finding a way to get out of this world and defeat Madara. And she asks if he's forgotten about this, and he says of course he hasn't, and explains that he's all too painfully aware that this world is different and is not the reality. Even it's hard for him. And she realises, I think at this point, how hard it is for Naruto. And Naruto's and Sakura, her face is shadowed by her hair at this point, and she says that she asked Naruto if, for him, does this world represent happiness? And he says yes, because it has. He says yes, but it's not what he's used to. I don't know whether he thinks or he says this, but whether he voices it out loud or thinks it, but he talks about how it has everything he wants here. The fact that his parents are alive, and that Sasuke's in the village. Everything he could have ever dreamed of is here. And Sakura says that Sasuke would understand how she was feeling, because she feels betrayed. And I think she truly appreciates, at that point in the film, she appreciates how she made Sasuke feel when she complained about her parents. So it seems that Sakura, this movie, even if it is filler, you know, and it's not that relevant, not completely relevant to the main storyline, this film is a learning curve for Sakura, and it's nice to see how she feels in their situation.